How difficult has this launch been? What kind of problems have you faced?
Yes, I think that the launch for us has not been difficult at all because, you know, we've been planning it since 2 years ago, literally. And we, of course, then we were interrupted by the World Cup, which was great for us. And as soon as that was done, we tried to make it happen. So we're working with the Post Office and other institutions who are partners in making sure that this deal is successful. We made the announcement when we did our results a year ago plus, promising the market that this is what we've done, and so we are simply, committing and acting on the promise of our performance.
What kind of investors are you looking for?
Primarily, we're looking for investors who are really at the bottom end of the, social spectrum in South Africa. We really want that to be a very broad-based black economic empowerment deal, which is why, people can buy it for 20 Rand only. It's heavily subsidized.
Now, Corby Lechonge, our guest hostess with us in the studio. I know we were talking about this story earlier, and I know you've got one or two points you would like to put to the lady from MTN.
Yeah, Chris, let me start off by saying firstly that, if you take MTN stock into consideration today, MTN is trading with a PE multiple of about 15 times and a dividend yield of about 3%, and you're getting that stock today. If you buy into Zakhele, you're basically buying exposure in MTN, but at 20 Rand. Now that's a major discount if you take that into consideration. As a matter of fact, you need to potentially go and check this and potentially look at it. But this is potentially one of the biggest discounts that any group would potentially ever have received in South Africa as far as a broad-based black economic empowerment group is concerned. Usually the discounts in the order of about 10% or 15 or 20%. To get that kind of discount is absolutely huge. Now, it comes with a bunch of caveats obviously attached to it. The one caveat obviously is the fact that you can't trade the stocks for 3 years. At some point, the debt has to be repaid within this structure, the Zakhele structure. And obviously, at some point down the line, 6 years down the line, potentially whoever continues to be shareholders can potentially transform those potentially into MTN stock. But that remains to be seen, to be seen down the line. I suppose, how well was this received? By people like the PIC, which had to give up some amount of stock to Zakhele in order to make this a reality.
Yes, but because they're shareholders, the PIC is a shareholder of MTN Group anyway. It's the shareholders who had to be asked permission to go ahead with it, including themselves. So we had to have an AGM, the board had to approve, and the PIC was very much part of that decision making. So at this stage, I think the commitment is there from the shareholders, and we wait and see how the sale makes out in the end. But we feel very optimistic. We think it probably will be oversubscribed because it's so attractive. But we will target people, as I said, who can only afford to buy 2,000 Rands worth.
We were saying earlier, Corby, actually for investors, if it's they prefer it when it's undersubscribed. But this is like to be oversubscribed. What do you say to that?
Yeah, if you take the MTN share price into consideration, it has been a very, very rapid grower. As far as earnings are concerned, as far as dividends are concerned, and as far as share price is concerned. This share price on average since 1997 appreciates in the order of about 30 to 35% per annum. So you're getting tremendous growth, and obviously the underlying instrument is obviously the Zakhele shareholding, but you're getting the growth as far as the MTN stock is concerned. Now, one would hope that obviously continues to happen, and as that continues to happen, you continue to see a faster repayment as far as the debt is concerned. I think the nice thing is from a broad-based black economic empowerment perspective is the fact that you're getting shareholding in the stock. You're getting in a fast-growing company in South Africa, and you're really underpaying for it. It really is what I would like to call a very, very deep value type situation where there's nothing intrinsically wrong with an MTN as a company.
Now, large companies like yourselves at MTN, you're having to do a lot of these BEE deals these days because your shareholding, your B component keeps dropping. How much of a concern is that for a big company like yours?
Because we look after our reputation, because we are a black company in effect, because we are ourselves in a sense beneficiaries of BEE. If you think that MTN came to an existence in 1994, just as we were getting our freedom. So we align ourselves with that spirit of empowerment, a company that has been really developed and grown by black people. Also, if you look at our markets in Nigeria, in Ghana, and so on, those companies are doing extremely well, and they're being run, by Africans in this environment. We think of ourselves as a truly African country, an African company. And we feel very proud to have that identity and to be able to share MTN spoils with potential shareholders.
Last quick question from you, Kobe.
I suppose, Mrs. January-Bardill, I mean, I suppose one of the questions that come to mind when I look at the deal is the fact that, you know, you can buy a minimum lot of 100 shares,
Yes.
which basically means you're in for an odd 2,000 rand, you
That's
know,
correct.
at the price of 20 rand. I suppose, how did you come up with that 100 number of shares that one can potentially buy? Is it potentially because you're trying to get more serious type of shareholding, people that are serious about owning MTN stock?
Yes, I think it is, because also, you know, for me and you sitting in the studio here, I don't know how much you earn, I know how much I earn. 2,000 rand seems to be not quite, you know, it's not so much money for us, but for somebody at the bottom end, you know, of the social spectrum, 2,000 rand can be quite a lot. You know, somebody asked, one of the people who works at MTN the other day asked me, you know, I only have 1,500 rands. Can I go and borrow 500 to make up the two to buy the share? And of course I encouraged him to do that because it's such an attractive you know, investment to make for himself. But I'm just saying that the fact that we pitched it at 200 was really to try and make an attempt to reach that bottom end, to make it truly broad-based, especially in the current context, you know, when people are talking about enrichment and so on. We don't want to be about that. So what we've said is that we will prioritize people at the bottom end, and secondly, we will, if it's oversubscribed, we will prioritize MTN subscribers who have registered, who have RECA'd. And so we encourage people to RECA. We are using the post office, of course, you know, as you know, the post office for people to go and pick up their prospectuses. The forms will be filled in there. We have trained all the post office personnel to give people information, answer questions, and so on, so that they have a real understanding. But we're also inviting them to take full responsibility for themselves if they're interested in buying the share.